What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2. Been a long time since I talked at all about armor sets, and want to get a quick basics video out there with armor in Dungeon Defenders 2. There is lots of confusion with this one, and I think in part is coming from any of the other Dungeon Defenders games. Dungeon Defenders 1, Dungeon Defenders Awakened, Dungeon Defenders Eternity. They all have armor sets that give a armor set bonus. Dungeon Defenders 2 does not have armor set bonuses. However, armor does have a few basic guidelines. Generally speaking, Ranger armor will always have hero damage as a secondary role. Warlock's armor will always have ability power as the secondary role. And Warrior's armor will always have hero health as the secondary role. Now, generally speaking, I always tell people just to ignore the armor types, since there is no set bonus. Having a full set of a specific type of armor is just not important. But, you know, of course, you're going to want to min-max. So if you're going for a hero damage build, of course, you're going to want to have all hero damage stats on your armor. So with that in mind, generally speaking, you can look and say, okay, I want Ranger's chests. However, one thing that is important is you're always going to want to look at the stat ranges on armor. Campaign, it's not really huge, but as you get up into the higher difficulties, the swing between the minimum and maximum roll of that secondary stat can be significant. In addition to that, this is not always the system the game has had. The game has been around a long time now. There's been many different variations of how armor is treated. So there is lots of armor that is in the system by current players right now that does not stick to these guidelines. For example, we've got Warlock's boots right here. These Warlock's boots, of course, should have ability power on them, right? But they don't. They have hero damage. And the reason is this is an older armor piece that came from before that system was in place. Now, this is widespread, so you will see these pieces of armor with a different stat on them all the time. With that in mind, with that combined with the fact that there's no armor set bonuses, is why I tell everyone to just ignore the armor. It's just a different icon. It doesn't show anything different on the character. And the most important thing, of course, is looking at that secondary stat and the roll that's on it. Looking at this piece, this Chaos 9 Warlock's chest, it starts off at 16,377. It can go all the way up to 18,425. This stat, of course, cannot be rolled. You have to find it with that. You can re-roll the primary stat, but not the secondary stat on armor pieces. And it makes it so this is what you should look at. If you're farming together a set of armor, just ignore what you see in shops as far as Warrior, Warlock, or Ranger, and look at the stat that's there. Now, you may find that just for thematically or whatever, you want to have a complete Warlock set, and by all means, go for that. However, when you're looking at loot in other players' shops, or you're inspecting other players, do not be surprised if you see something like these Warlock boots with hero damage on them as the secondary stat. So no armor sets in Dungeon Defenders 2, some basic guidelines that armor does follow as far as Warlock or Warrior. However, all of that can be ignored just by looking at the stat, which you're gonna want to see the roll anyway. So that will do it for now. Hopefully this helps explain some armor pieces in Dungeon Defenders 2. And if you have any questions or comments in that regard, make sure to let me know down below. But that will do it for now. Thanks a ton for watching, and I will see you next time.